External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar will visit Russia on August 20th, 21st to meet counterpart Sergei Lavrov in a bid to strengthen strategic ties with Moscow. This is amid rising tensions with the US. He may also call on President Putin. The visit, following NSA Ajit Doval's recent trip, will fine-tune the agenda for Putin's India visit later this year, which is his first visit in 4 years. In fact, it comes soon after a Modi and Putin phone call reaffirming this special and privileged strategic partnership. We spoke to a group of experts. In fact, I had the opportunity to do so, leaving you with their point of view as far as this is concerned. And having said that, that's all that I have for you in this edition. Thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Well, I think India is now really going through testing times, Nivedna, in that it is the Pakistan factor which has come to wane adversely, to put it in real terms, during Op Sindhu. However, we have to face up on one side comprehensive strategic partnership, which is on a strong footing with the United States, and on the other side, a traditional trusted strategic partnership with Russia. Both America and Russia, to my point of view, have to understand that India exercising its strategic autonomy, they have to live within this space to take forward the relationship with India, which is emerging a power in its own right, albeit going through difficult times in the current era of tariffs. Now, the importance of this visit, I would first put our national security advisor went there last week. He was there. So a lot of spade work has done, and surely this energy factor, our defense cooperation, our defense deals, and then Putin visit, which has been planned during the NSA's visit, perhaps later part of the year, they have been the factors. Now, being follow up with the visit by the foreign minister, definitely again, it is the bilateral focus areas which any foreign minister would be taking forward, along with the international areas of cooperation, which are there in many multilateral organizations which are existing, and the multipolarity which India advocates. So the timing is, a follow-up of that. But yes, interestingly, it is happening after 15th August, Trump-Putin meeting. Let us see what emerges in the Ukraine-Russian war ceasefire or peace deals. Well, India, I would say, has to put first and foremost its national security, wherein lies the energy security. The defense modernization is second. Third is the multipolar diplomacy. Fourth is dealing with the tariff diplomacy of India. And fifthly, India has to weigh to convince United States that transactional part of partnership is not what India looks forward to. So I think those are the main criteria which are existing.
When you make those opening remarks as well, and given how you put that angle as to how this has, really panned out. And more importantly, you talk about the timing and how that will look going forward. But let me also get in a word from Ambassador Fabian. Given the aspect that India's ties also go way back with Russia, so is this present standoff with Washington essentially a revival of non-alignment in a new multipolar avatar that we're looking at?
Well, phrases, thank you. Phrases are always complicated, but let me put it this way. After all, what did non-alignment mean? It meant strategic autonomy. It meant looking at issues from the point of view of India's interest. And this is very important. It also meant India's worldview that every country should contribute towards world peace and conflict resolution. And India also had to do that. So that was non-alignment. But that was in the Cold War context. And naturally, it is no longer, it doesn't make sense. But the strategic autonomy part of it, that certainly makes sense. And what now happening is that, let's look at the tariffs on India which President Trump has heaped on us. Now, he said in the White House statement, that India's buying oil from Russia is undermining America's efforts to put an end to the war. And the next day, Trump gives 90 days for China to buy oil from Russia. And as we all know, China buys more oil from Russia than India does. So in other words, we have to understand Trump. And I'm afraid we haven't done enough work on what I call Trumpology in India, because Trump is a particular type of president and very egocentric, very touchy, because remember, he said that he had mediated on, Sindor. Well, it is true that he did not mediate, because how can there be mediation unless both the parties ask for it? And India did not. But it is also true, and I want to make it very clear, it's also true that America pushed Pakistan in the right direction by making it ask for a ceasefire. That is very important, and I personally think India could have acknowledged that. And our spokesperson, MEA, could have made a statement on that. And to be more smart, Prime Minister Modi could have given a phone call to President Trump. Oh, thank you for pushing Pakistan in the right direction. So I think we also have faulted, and Trump is now taking it on us, not because of the Ukraine war. He's irritated with us, and we have to understand that and deal with it. I'm not saying that we should surrender. No, we have to, first of all, in diplomacy, you have to understand the situation and then deal with it.
Okay, try to understand the situation and then deal with it and navigate it accordingly. But you did use a word, Trumpology. Let me take that to Mr. Jha. Mr. Jha, thank you not only for joining us, but also being patient while you've had the opportunity to come to you this evening. Given the aspect of what was said by the ambassador, but also let me ask you this, Mr. Jha. The US says these tariffs are about punishing Russian oil buyers, yet it continues importing Russian uranium. How do you defend this rules-based order when it's obviously hypocrisy at best?
Thank you, Nivedana. I have patience. We are all in this panel together, so each panelist must say their part of the contribution. So I will wait in patience, and while I expect others also to wait in patience now. Important part. Look, you talked about the Secretary of State and J.D. Vance both said that the buying of Russian oil is an irritant in the India-US relationship. But everybody forgets that India was not responsible for Ukraine war. And there are, military general here and diplomat here. We all know that the rule-based order that the West imposes on everybody else is a wonderful play by the West. They are so good in institution building that everything for everybody else is an aspirational item. So rule-based order, but who made those rules? In the name of the people? You know, and I know, and everybody knows who made those rules of the institutional framework. Europe has been always, they divided the world. The colonial and imperial Europe divided the world as they wanted. To use the Hindi word in Bihar, as we say, as if the whole world was unki baap ki property. This is very important to understand. The European model, the NATO EU model, is to dominate the global production, manufacturing, manage, manipulate, and control the global manufacturing and production process, including the resource and raw material usage of the natives. That's the play. I'm saying here very clearly that this is East India Company coming via the new 21st century route of tariff war. That's what it is all about. India and the rest of the world did not bite the bullet that Ukraine was a global problem. And what Mr. Jaishankar said a few days ago, and believe it or not, I have been saying this for the last couple of years, that Europe has a fetish for adjusting their own territorial imperatives. All the wars that happen in Europe is to stretch the territory of each other. German unification, Italian unification, breakup of Russia, USSR, Czechoslovakia doesn't exist, Yugoslavia doesn't exist. This is the European play. They want to play the whole game all over the world. The rest of the world is no longer buying it. Even the First and Second World War were actually a European territorial battlefields, aggravated by one reason or the other. The colonial empires, people died because it was called a world war and colonial armies died in these places. So I'm totally against this Western domination of the third world. And both these gentlemen will also testify to this matter, that the First World and Second World War words were called after the Second World War, when the Western European nations, who NATO part of it, became the First World. The Russian alliance, CENTO, became the Second World, and everybody else was Third World. Think about it. It became a pejorative mention, as if they were the underdeveloped countries or didn't matter. This is what the world is now resisting. Prime Minister Modi, if those of you who remember, soon after abrogation of Article 370, he was in the United Nations addressing a 15-minute brilliant expose on how the global South must cooperate. Those of you can go back and visit that speech of his, which I did an analysis on one of the channels.